Good morning, everyone. It's Joker, and today we are back with another slime video. And today we're going to go into Boss Battle 1 of Tempest Heroes Jubilee for August of 2025. This, just straight up, this sucks. It really sucks if you don't have the new team. More so than normal, because they went out of their way to just screw everything in the game. You want debuffs? Can't use them. You want, what do you want? You want Pierce and Synergy? Can't use it. You actually can't even use Aegis and Crit until you break their barrier, so keep that in mind. This is an AoE-focused fight. The starting hand is a 3 blue, 2 orange, and 1 green that you can either triple convert or triple orb steal. It's really up to you. And then the enemies, they do a numerous things. Seals, Pierce, and Synergy, and attack up. Decreases your magic attack. The Drago, or not the Drago, but the Lord's Ambition will kind of negate that. Xion nerfs greens and oranges, and also, importantly, nerfs your EX alt damage on the nuke turn, which means that you are just inherently always going to do 100% less alt damage if you have an EX alt, and you cannot avoid that. Lord's Ambition does not save you from this, which is really shitty. And then Veldora, Pierce, Synergy, Aegis, and Crit resistance, but when you break the barrier, you remove the Aegis and Crit, and then Seal status effects. So they have a lot of stuff going on, and the field effect also says reverse weakening, and then you get an AoE buff, which I guess is cool. But the reverse weakening means you cannot use debuffs at any point in this fight, and you can't crit, you can't pierce, you can't synergy, and your EX alt nerf is your EX alt is nerfed. So it just leads to you not having a great time. So apologies in advance if our teams are a bit limited or just straight up crap. But let's go ahead and jump in. So we're going to start with the actual full meta, of course. Guy, Violet, Jean, Blanc, and then we've got Divine General Raphael and the Tail Xion for crit damage and then the dark attack. We've got Space Millum underneath Raphael, so we can have 36 skill points to start, which allows us to use the Rainbow Convert from Blanc turn 1. And this is all about getting Jean's single target ult, because that's probably the most efficient way you're going to get this done. I did try and use Millum as a DPS instead of Jean, and it was about the same score. It was actually a little bit lower, so if you don't have Jean, you could use Millum, and if you have Violet and Blanc and Guy, then great. You can run this team and just swap them out. But it gets just slightly lower. Even though she's AoE nuking, she's just not as strong, because she's so old. And you can try and put the Enamor Strike on everyone, or the Enamor Skill on everyone, or as much as possible, but it really kind of boils down to what you can do personally. But turn 1, we're going to do the Rainbow Convert. We have Jean's ult right here, because we have 3 rainbows, but we have Violet who can ult swap her away, which works out fine. And then you could either Rainbow Convert turn 2 if you have a lot of Jean orbs, and if not, then, I mean, you could still do it and try and work on getting ults for your 2 support characters, Blanc and Violet, or you could just do what I did and not do any of that, and just use Guy, and then another stack of Raphael's ult buff that we used turn 1, and now turn 2, because we have so many points for it, so why not? And then we'll just go ahead and do this, and then we'll continue to try and wait out the Jean orbs to get her EX alt. We do need her EX alt by turn 4, because we do need to send her away holding onto the dark buff from Raphael and the crit buff from Xion, and then hopefully have enough points on turn 5 to use the 3 50-point skills for Jean and Violet. But the EX alt nerf that is in the stage is brutal, because it essentially cuts Violet's buff in half. So instead of getting 200%, you're getting 100%, even when you're capped out. And it's the dumbest thing in the world. There are not a lot of characters who can overcome a 100% EX alt nerf. Because the other one character that can do it is Fern, and she also has a 100% alt resistance debuff, which you can't debuff this stage, so you can't really bring Fern. And then there's a couple other characters that give like 70%, like Commander Shizu, or 50, like Shinsha, but that's not going to overcome a 100% nerf, so you're really in a rough spot now. But we have applied the Enamor on Millum. Okay, cool. We got to break the other shields as well, because I do want to have these alts from Violet hit everyone, because it is just extra damage. But, technically, since we are only single target ulting, you could just send everything against Millum. and then we would still get the weakness strike stack from Violet if she ults into a barrier. It's just you won't get that extra damage, but you can do what you want here. But we have stored the crit and the dark buff now. We have 0 points. So now we just have to make back enough. We've used the orb gimmick from Violet again. We're going to break all the barriers, and then we're going to send the ults. That way we can actually get some kind of damage out of it. Like 1.5 million there, and then Blanc does 1 million. So yeah, we definitely wanted that damage. And that gives us 116, plus the 30 from Guy, plus another 20 from using Guy. And we have just enough points to do the 3 other buffs here. And we have to use Guy one more time to get Violet capped out on our 200%, which again is only 100%. So Jean comes in for Roth. Alright, we have 2 more support ults, which is good for our damage. So 1-2 from Jean. We'll use Guy, convert this entire hand into blues, give us 1 more stack of attack, and give us Lord's Ambition. And then we can use Violet for her 200%. And then we'll send the ults and everything else after that. And you can see right here, 100% EX ult. So even though we have Lord's Ambition, it does not affect orbs. It only affects characters. 1.2 million, 472, and Jean does 237 million damage. That's quite a bit. 237 mil, and then like 18 million on that 200% orb. So that's my final score, 261, and this is the best run I've gotten, and probably the only run I'm going to get of this kind of level, because I just don't want to do this again. So that is the best run. That is also the full meta, so let's now change it up and not use the full meta. In the event that you just didn't summon, and you got unlucky with your Koban or your free tickets, and you don't have any of the new characters, then you could technically run a version of the old Summer Memories team, 1.0, with the Hinata and Milim that you got for free. We've got Summer Lumi here for the Enamor skill. We've got Protector Trainee, which, she's okay. She does give a defensive debuff, which turns into a buff for the enemy, but it's not that much of a big deal. We brought the Masked Hero more for the rewind than anything else to try and just help get EX ults. And then we have Leon, who is realistically the only other character that can kind of get around that 100% EX ult nerf, because he's giving 111% EX ult. And the normal ult, which is also 111. So you're essentially getting 122% ult damage from him in this fight, because you're missing 100% off the EX. But turn 1, we're actually going to steal all the blue orbs with Milim instead of using Leon's Convert, and that will just help us get Milim's ult quicker. It doesn't get it, or actually it does, sorry, I lied. But, I mean, it doesn't give us a maximum stack of, like, protection gauge, is what I meant to say. But here, we're just going to send Milim away. We no longer have Lord's Ambition, so we can't Aegis, we can't really, crit or anything either. Well, actually, sorry, we can't attack up Synergy or Aegis, right? That's what that is? Synergy or Pierce. Synergy, Pierce, or Attack. My bad. Sorry. The icons are... I'm losing my mind here. Okay. But turn 2, boom. Alright, we've got a full hand of blues because now we have the activated trainee who's giving a future hand of orbs. And now we could bring Milim back in on this rewind turn and try and get her ult as easily as possible. But it's turn 3. If we were to apply the Enamor now with Lumi, it would run out because it's only 2 turns, so we have to wait on that. So we're actually going to do this, and we're just going to break the barrier. That's fine. It is what it is. But it's the rewind, so that'll kick in, and then we bring Milim in and try and steal some orbs. Yeah, so Hinata's got 3 here. That's fantastic. We've got 150 points. Go ahead and... Oh, no, we're going to rewind on turn 4. My bad. Sorry. Skip ahead. Alright. So now we're going to do this. A lot of Milim orbs. Use trainee so on the rewind we get a future hand of blues. And we'll do the attack buff here as well, just to give us a little bit extra damage. This does not quite get us the EX ult, though, which is kind of unfortunate. But we're also not using that many skills on turn 5, so we can afford to leave her up front and just steal with her own skill now. Because last time we just stole with Hinata's triple orb steal, and now we can convert all the blues to Milim, and that gives us the EX ult. So we're missing the ult for Hinata. Unfortunate. There may have been a way to do that a little bit better. However, we do have the AoE ult in the AoE stage, and that's the most important thing. We don't have to use Lumi's ult buff at all, because Leon's is better. So that's 55 points I don't have to use. So let's use the Enamor on one person. I should have probably done it last turn as well. That way, actually no, we did use it last turn, my bad. We put it on Veldora. But so now we've got Enamor on 2 people out of the 3, and there's really no way else to do that. We cannot get it on third person, because the Enamor only lasts for 2 turns. But let's give the guaranteed crit, and we unfortunately don't have a lot of Milim orbs or Hinatas, so we're going to have to deal with this. And Milim does 1.3 million damage, except on Xion, where we did something bad. Yeah, we pierced. So instead of doing 1.3 million damage, we did 1. So we're missing like a third of our damage right there. Unfortunate, but hopefully your run is not as unlucky. And then the follow-up orbs. Milim's 200% with the Enamor Strike does 225k. Okay. So if we were to actually do this properly and we got full damage, we'd be about 5 million total damage here instead of 3.8. So certainly would be better, but it's not very good compared to like the 500k score that the full meta got. But if that's what you have to use, it's what you have to use. Alright, so for people that can run this team, you can use it, and you can get an okay score. It's not great, but it's better than like the last clip, with like the old Summer Memories team. We've got Protector Himmel, we've got Xion, we've got Leon again, we've got Blanc and Violet, because of course we do, and then we also have Summer Milim. And our idea here is to nuke with both Blanc and Milim on turn 5 with EX ults, and just do as much damage as humanly possible with the Leon buff, with the Xion buff, Blanc's own buff, but no debuff, and then a couple stacks of control. So, opening up, we are going to Leon convert here, right? No, we're not going to Leon convert. We're going to Violet convert. We're starting with 36 points. And we're also going to use the Blanc buff a turn early, because I do want to get Milim's ult here. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. You'll also have noticed that I've got Summer Hinata underneath Milim, because that, alongside these 3, actually gets her EX ult because of Hinata's ult gauge trait, and then she's good to go. But what we need is we need Blanc's EX ult. So you're going to need to maybe reset a couple of times to try and get some Blanc orbs, because I got mostly unlucky. I had to do this like 5 times for this team, and before I got 2 Blanc orbs here, which is crazy to think about. But we're going to Rainbow convert again. The orange buff is still active. We'll use Himmel to give us the stack, and then also the passive convert next turn. And we're going to send these 4, and that gets us Blanc's EX ult. And we've also used the control stack. So, we're going to get, well, what is that, 90% right there? Weakness strike. And then we're going to leave them in for another turn. We'll do another set of control. We'll do the attack buff for Milim, because it lasts for 2 turns. And then we're going to get 180% weakness strike on this turn. And then we're just going to continue to send 4 orbs. And then with that, we're going to have enough points to use Blanc's buff and then Xion's buff, and then send both the ladies away. And they can hold on to those in the back, and then turn 4 will just be getting more points to nuke, which we don't have to use that much on the nuke turn. It's just Leon's skill, and maybe Milim's ult steal, or orb steal if we really need to, but yeah, it is what it is. So, there we go, there's the Xion. We've already used the Blanc buff. Let's use Himmel to convert that one last orb, and get a full hand. Perfect. We'll break the other barrier, because we need to AoE nuke here with 2 characters. No barrier is going to be here when we nuke. And then we'll just send the rest of the orbs. Xion's actually doing okay damage. That guard is unfortunate, but oh well. And we're going to be guaranteed a full hand of oranges here, which is cool, because we've got the passive convert, and then another stack will convert whatever's left. And we also have an ult for Violet, which will raise Blanc's weakness strike a little bit extra, so it's always good to have that. But we use Leon's buff, and that's pretty much the only thing we can use on this turn. Because we can't put the control stack on, because the ult resistance down debuff would turn into a buff, and that's not good. So it is just 1 skill on this turn. Maybe 2 if I wanted to steal the Milim orbs or something, but there's some damage. Milim does 4.3, Blanc does 4.9. I know that was really quick, and just take my word for it. But, I mean, it's decent damage for the team that we're using, with no protection character buff, no Aegis, no dark debuff at all, or debuffs in general. And it does put you over the 100k mark for your total score, which is again, better than the last clip, but it's still not fantastic, and it does require quite a few premium characters. But if you have them, then certainly you can do this instead and then just go do something else for the next 10 days. Alright, we got the Spirit Master Hero with Leon, again, and then we got Fountain Wisdom Rimuru, Violet and Blanc, and then Light Blanc. And so the idea is that we'll just nuke with our Dark Blanc, who's had maybe a few control stacks, the physical buff, the ult, and then the weakness strike from Blanc alongside the control stacks. In theory, like, this might be okay. It is just that, it's just okay. So turn 1, I mean, if you don't have Leon, you're really just fucked, unfortunately. Like, there's just no other way to put it. This Jubilee went out of its way to fuck, I think, everybody. And which is so weird, considering that they gave away so many free units. Like, a free Milim and a free Hinata, enough to skill fuse them to get their Enamor, and then you get to this stage, and it's like, yeah, please go fuck yourself. So, man, I'm not having a good time. Today was not a good day to record, just in general. I wasn't feeling it. I was so tired from doing normals yesterday, and I gotta do this, and Jubilee is my least favorite thing. Almost next to Valor Cup at this point, because they've started to put so many restrictions on that it's not fun. So we do have 3 Primal Demon characters, though, which is cool, so we can convert turn 2 into a full Rainbow hand, and we can get it, a lot of it to Blanc, and we have an alt-swapping character, and since we're binded in, but we still are all Primal Demons, it's not that big of a deal, because we can just alt-swap away and then do another Rainbow turn, and we don't need Leon's convert. And we've got the control stacks. Let's do another stack of that. So we're going to get 180%, I think, weakness strike here just from sitting here and dealing damage to shields, apparently. But this is enough to get the EX ult, so that on turn 4, we can hold probably the weakness strike and the Blanc buff, or we can hold on to the physical buff from Rimuru. That's actually probably better, because I don't want that physical debuff to become a buff for the enemies. So that's what we have to do. And we definitely have to use Blanc's skill here, because we cannot have that dark resistance down put on the enemies and then turned against us. So we got a lot of ult, thank God, and that's what 2 hands of Rainbow Orbs will do. So we'll convert, we'll do the Dark Blanc buff, we'll do the extra skill points just for funsies, we'll bring Rimuru in for... doesn't really matter, as long as it's not Dark Blanc, because we do need to apply his buff first. So sure, that works. And then... buff, boom, and then we can orb change to get the full hand of blues, bring Leon in for Blanc, we got a full hand, double stack with the hero, and then we're pretty much ready to nuke on next turn, because the only thing we have to do on the nuke turn is use Leon. Like, that's really it. We can't use any more control stacks, because that's going to turn against us. We've already used the Blanc and the Rimuru buff, so we're good there, and we just have to use the Leon and light Blanc buffs, as it boils down to it. And we're going to do decent damage, but still not the same as using a complete meta team. But if you have some of these premium options like Blanc and Violet, then it'll definitely work. So there's the damage, cool. An orb change for a full hand, and then we'll bring Blanc in for Leon, or Rimuru, doesn't really matter. For Leon, and then we can swap Rimuru away for Light Blanc, and we have 3 ults here. And Violet's ult will give us a little bit extra weakness strike on top of everything else. And 1 more stack of the hero, and then we'll send Violet first, and then Blanc, and then Blanc, and then all the other Blanc orbs. 42k, single target Blanc does 1 because we hit synergy, and then Dark Blanc hit 5 million, right? Yeah, 5 million, so 1555. Ironic. And our 200% orb does, like, 300k? 600k, because we hit Aegis. Sweet. Alright, well, there is an alternative team for you. Still using the power of Blanc and Violet, though. I'm sorry. They're kind of important now. Alright, that's really all I got for you today. I'm sure there are some kind of other teams that can do this in some format. Please, for the love of God, put it down in the comments so other people can see it, because I don't have the brain power for this, alright? I'm sorry. It's taken me all day to just do one video for this, and I'm dead. So, If you have other teams, please put them down. Otherwise, take it easy, and I'll see you all later.